I've ridden Alaska Airlines before. Many of our audience have ridden Alaska Airlines before. You talk about the software business, you talk about becoming efficient and moving fast. It really feels to me, though, that your business is really about service. It's about that customer experience. You talked about home in the first video, in the opening video, and of course I love that it ended with a hug. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, for many years people talk about, B2B businesses and B2C businesses, and they talk about companies like Alaska and Starbucks, and these are amazing because they're B2C companies and you get to connect with the consumer, the customer every day. And guys, the world has evolved. We fundamentally about, the crazy words people are using are human-to-human interaction. I'm like, why do we even say that? It's about people-to-people interaction. And that's where we're at right now. And at Alaska, that's how we're thinking about it.
You can applaud. It's cool.
It's fundamentally about connecting people. And, we do it in the most physical way possible. We move people across the planet to meet their loved ones, to go on vacation, to visit a sick aunt, or whatever that experience is. We are allowing people to connect with one another. That's what our mission is.
Nice. And so when you talk about, let's have a little scenario here. Let's say that I decide to come work for you tomorrow.
Let's do it.
Oh, wow.
Everyone, let's go.
But so what's my first week on the job? I must be shipping code because that's how we prove that I'm moving fast. I ship code my first week. It's in production. Is that right?
I'd expect that of you, and that'd be cool. Look, there's a few things we do. The first thing, you'd get your IT division issued Nerf gun.
Nerf gun.
And
okay.
Because we're a safety culture, so you'll get your safety goggles with instructions around rules of engagement.
Excellent.
Followed by, before you actually touch a keyboard or write any code, the first thing we're going to do is put you through a 2-day orientation and immersion program. And you literally get out to the airport, you get to walk on our aircraft, you get to engage with our maintenance and engineering folks, you get to meet our chief pilots, you get to meet every single one of our frontline of our operation.
What does that have to do with writing code? I don't understand. I want to write some code.
Yeah, I bet you do. It's about context. Right? Writing code absent context is meaningless. Understanding why you're writing this, the impact that this has. That's what we focused on. It's providing context for what you're trying to accomplish. So when you're writing that code, you instantly know the impact that when you push that button to production, here's the impact that's directly going to have on the operation.
That's incredible. It sounds like I'm an engineer, but you're trying to turn me into a person that cares about the business.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Hey, you the hugging dude. Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the reasons I joined Alaska. It's a company that cares. It's a company that cares about the people that works there. It's a company that cares about its community, and it's a company that cares about its customers. And yes, we need to have this deep interpersonal relationship of caring for one another before we even write code.
Interesting. So you're in the business of distributing people around the globe. I want to talk to you a little bit about how is your experience with distributed IT teams? How are you distributing your software developers around the world? Is that something that you're doing?
Indeed, something we're doing. It's a bit of a learning experiment. We're an 84-year-old company headquartered in Seattle, so like most traditional companies, you're going to have a core center of excellence. But we're experimenting with different distributed models. A year and a half ago, we had our lead network principal architect for a large airline headquartered out of Seattle, working out of Scotland. And we literally
Scotland? Sound good?
Yeah, and we literally had a robot in the office cruising around that he was controlling from Scotland, where he was participating in meetings and engaging with people. We have a product team that we've just set up in Argentina. We have some teams that we have in India, and even in Seattle, we have our core engineering sitting at an office just south of the airport. But yet we have product teams that are trying out some new space, like in the WeWorks facility, and we're really learning from this distributed agile type environment, and the initial results are really positive because we're able to truly tap into a diverse global talent pool.
That's really cool. So Alaska isn't it's not my home airline. When are you going to fix that?
I just announced that today. Look, you get one, you get one, you get one.
All right.
Look, it takes time. It's a capital-intensive business, and we want to be the hometown airline for many core cities in the United States. And regardless, for every single passenger, whether we're your hometown airline or not, whenever you touch or engage with our brand in any way, shape, or form, we want that to be an amazing experience.
So in our world, we collaborate across different companies, right? We have many different companies here that are all using Chef, are all automating their infrastructure, their applications, and we're here talking with one another, sharing ideas, helping each other out. How much does that happen in the airline industry?
A lot. There is the airline sort of aviation bodies, and one, if you just think about airline safety and security and cybersecurity, there's a lot of sharing from that perspective. But in terms of technology level sharing, that it certainly hasn't come to this industry yet. Everyone's still hunkering down and holding on to their own trade secrets. But what we're doing is we're starting to look outside of the airline industry for best practices, and we're trying to disrupt this industry. And sometimes you've got to look outside to bring in some industry-leading thought leaders, best practices to come in and disrupt this industry. So I would say, there's mixed sharing. The sharing is around safety more so than it is around technology.
Mm-hmm. What about the, like in many airports, I do go to a kiosk, but I see 8 different airlines. Who's running that?
Yeah, there's a concept of multi-use environments and or common use, and they're neither common nor useful. And so, a large part of that infrastructure is either run by the airport themselves or some outsourced party, and typically not by the airline. And to be transparent, we hate that model.
Mm. So what are you doing to fix it?
We have deployed engineers to different airports to understand the customer problems. And as I said earlier, I want to get kiosks out of the airport, and I want you to interact with us through your mobile app. Download the mobile app. It's a 5-star mobile app. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's great. So one last question for you. 60-second airline. Can we get to 60-second TSA?
Yes. And so we're partnering with the TSA. We're running a number of pilots with them in terms of how do we get people through TSA lines more securely. Biometric, I think, is a key component to it. We're trialing a number of biometric components. We've partnered with an entity called Clear that exists in a number of airports. We're bringing Clear to CTAC within the next few months. And we're starting to think about, how do we get people moving through this thing? I'm mentally thinking about this is, what is the airline equivalent of Amazon Prime? Right? Imagine you had an Alaska Prime membership, and what came with that was, rapid, bag check and TSA, right through the line, 60 seconds through TSA, and an amazing onboard experience. We're really thinking about changing that paradigm. We get the number one pain point for air travelers is TSA.
Yeah. So you're clearly going through an incredible transformation. You're providing great value to your customers. Thank you, Veresh.
Yeah, you bet.
Great.
It's been
Come
fun.
here, give me another hug.
Yeah, let's do it.